so welcome back to my channel. Today I am just going to chat a little bit about our experience booking the mystery holiday through Groupon. Specifically about that being a group booking instead of just two people, because the majority of videos that I've seen have just been a two. Basically the whole premise is you book a voucher with Groupon and then you don't know where you're going, so you don't find out until you've validate the booking. So if you're two, this is pretty easy. You can just do it online and you get the reveal of like, yay, you're going to wherever you're going. But we were a group of 10, so it was not as easy as that. So my friend actually booked it, and in hindsight I think she really regretted it. I was chatting to her before I made this video just to get some of her feedback, so I'll let you know what she thought. So if you're two, yeah, you just get it revealed to the big, ooh, you're going to wherever you're going. But for us, if you're in a group of more than two, to make sure you're all put together on the same trip and all going to the same location and hotel and everything, you have to ring to find out where you're going and to organise everything. My friend that booked it had a lot of issues with this. She said there was like multiple different numbers she had to ring to find out like who the booking was actually with and to like sort out where we were actually going and what we were doing. So it's advertised as a £99 mystery holiday, but there are upgrades and premiums and stuff along the way. The only month that we could go was July. It was like the only month that everyone was more or less free, and for to pick July, I think it was July and then another month, if you wanted either of those you had to pay a premium. So we paid £129 each, which is still a bargain. There was one date that my friend couldn't do in the whole of July. Out of the 10 of us, there was only one date that we couldn't go, and of course we got that date. So my friend was ringing and trying to get this sorted so that we could change the date. Changing the date meant that we changed location. So originally I think we were going to, was it maybe Belgium? I think it's Belgium. I don't know, I could be wrong. But we were originally going somewhere else. But friend had a phone, get the date changed, and then we found out we were going to Paris. So out of the 10 of us, half of us had been to Paris before and half of us hadn't. So I hadn't been, so I was fairly excited. Paris wouldn't be somewhere I would have picked to go because I'd heard a lot of bad things about Paris, but that's where we went. My friend said that she found the booking process absolutely terrible. They changed our rooms, so we had our rooms organised because it was 10 of us. It was our friend group of 7 and then three of our partners. But the way the rooms were allocated, initially 2 4s and then a double room. We had it sorted of who was going into a double room and who was sharing and everything. And then when we got to the hotel, it was different. We were in a 4 and then 2 sets of 3. So like we had to on the spot change who was staying where, but not the big we did, but still. For the £129, that included our return flights, our accommodation, and just carry on luggage. So the flight was with Ryanair, obviously. We flew from Dublin, flew to Beauvais airport. Hotel wasn't actually in Paris, it was in Torcy. Our hotel was basically right in front of the train station, so getting in and out of Paris wasn't an issue. It was just the time it took more than anything really. My friend who booked it got offered upgrades the whole time, like upgrades on getting better flights, upgrades on getting adding luggage, upgrades on changing location, upgrades on changing hotels. The hotel that we stayed in, I will put up a picture of what it was like, but I thought it was okay for the price. It was like kind of a conference, I think it was like a businessy sort of conferencey hotel. The best thing about it was that it was so close to the train for getting into Paris. Torcy itself had very little for us to do as a group of young people. Everything shut early. There was no nightlife that we could find anyway, but we were there during the week. There was a karaoke bar that seemed to open until like 3 AM, but literally the one night that we could go out, it wasn't open. I think Torcy would be a really good location if you are going to Disneyland, because the train is literally like the next stop is Disneyland, like you're there. So if we had a bit of family and we were going to Disneyland, that would have been a great option, a cheap, great option to stay there, especially if you're not going to be in the room that much. I'll say our flight times were pretty decent. We left Banbridge on the bus at about 7 AM and then went down to Dublin Airport, and I think our flight was at around 11 o'clock, which got us into Paris for around lunchtime. We got to the airport around lunchtime. From the airport to where we were staying was about an hour and a half, so we obviously had to factor that into the cost, getting to and from the airport, getting to and from Paris. The hotel was about 45 minutes away from Paris. Flight home was around tea time. But that airport is a disaster. Security, like, I have never queued as long to get my passport stamped out of a place. They've only 2 belts on security, and the whole thing was a disaster. I'll put photos in of how bad the queues were. It was like you were getting called to go, but it was too late. Like, their system, I don't know what on earth they are doing there, but it was an absolute nightmare. I've never been in an airport like it. You could see they were doing construction work to like extend their security or something, but oh my word, it was so bad. And then even when you got through security, it was like one shop and like one duty free. I think it's honestly just an airport that's kind of in the middle of nowhere, and Ryanair like took it over by offering cheap flights to it. When we were there in Paris itself, it was the week before the Olympics, so the place was absolutely spotless. I had heard that it was quite a dirty city. I don't know if that's just like a wishy-washy statement or what, but it was absolutely spotless when we were there. There was so much security. There was police everywhere all the time. They were going around in like groups of 3 with guns and just like circling around the whole city. Everywhere you were, there was police presence. So I think we got to go. Had a really good time. It was literally the middle of July as well. I don't think we would have been able to get the trip for the price if we tried to book it ourselves. On the booking on the way home, they somehow messed up one of the names of one of the people in our group for the flight. So, my friend was like frantically ringing to check that she could still fly, and that's obviously not what you want to be doing on the day before you go home from your holiday. Overall, I think I would book one again, but I would do it in a 2 if we were doing it. My friend said this as well on the book that she said that if we were doing it again as a group, we would just do a spinny wheel of places and then just book it ourselves, because she seemed to have an absolute nightmare trying to sort things throughout the booking process and just throughout everything. But I think if you were going to buy it maybe as a gift for like you and your partner, or for your parents or something like that, like, I think it is worth going. If you're open to maybe not staying in the best hotel and maybe ending up somewhere random, if you're open to that and don't mind where you go, I would book it again personally, but I don't think as a group it is worth the hassle. And if you're ever offered Paris, take the upgrade on the airport and go into Charles de Gaulle, because it's absolutely nuts, that wee airport out there in the middle of nowhere. I'd say for the time of year, considering it was the middle of July, we got a bargain, but there is definitely extra costs there with being out not in the city, so that's another thing to factor in whenever you're thinking about the price. It's like you think you're getting a bargain. You are getting a bargain, but you have to factor in the transport. I only went into Paris once, just went for like a full day, and then that was me done. But some of the guys went back in again in the morning before we flew home, so you're like having to factor in these extra costs. They're not major. That difference you're paying could maybe get you into a better hotel in a better location, or could get you to fly into a better airport that's more convenient. So these are things that you just have to think about and see if it's worth it for you. But also like £100, £120, £130 is a night out now. You can stay in Belfast for less than £100 a night. And if we were to go to Dublin, it would be the same thing. You can't do it. So if you're up for something a little bit different, I'd say give it a go.